Hi there. It's great to have you here, Chris. Thanks a lot for being here for this growth story. So you are head of marketing at Jua. Would you mind starting just by briefly explaining what Jua is all about and what you guys are developing and offering?
Hi, Lucas. Happy to be here, actually. So, as you said, I'm head of marketing at Jua. What is Jua doing? We are in the AI space. We're developing an end-to-end deep learning model for weather forecasting. Be happy, looking forward for, you will soon know exactly when it's going to rain. And we're working on exactly that.
Yeah, great. I had some few insights on see how the model went, and I have to say it's very impressive. But that's great. Looking forward to see that spread over the entire world.
Yes. Yeah, it's an
Cool.
exciting thing.
Yeah, right. Before we started working together, because we were doing an Outbound Engine program and studying all of this Outbound Engine with you, what were typically the problems that you were facing that really led you to say, okay, let's go to RGH and have this Outbound Engine started?
Coming from where we are, where we were at a very early stage, and I was looking at how can I get in my first customer and learn as quickly and as much as I can from the market. For that, I have different channels which I can use, and in the early stage, it is usually quite good to go super targeted. So you learn exactly, you can run experiments and learn exactly about what audience are you going after, how are they responding to your product, what messaging do you need to use with them, and also in the sales conversation, what's the response. And I needed exactly this. The alternative would have been some marketing channels, but they're usually not as targeted as you can go with outbound. I can go and build it myself. I've done that before. Actually, I worked at in a similar position at two other SaaS companies, post Series A, and where we actually scaled outbound a lot. And there I was once running a very professional outbound program, and I knew what complexity is in that is how complex it actually is to build such a program. And I also know how much is updating all the time in that space. So technologically, or processes that are needing updates all the time. And I wasn't aware of like what are the updates. Have been the updates the last 3-4 years. But I was thinking about should I build this all in-house? But for me, it was pretty clear. It's so complex. The learning curve takes so long to really figure out what you need to do. And I knew there is an expert here. So for me, it was
Mhm.
pretty clear that I wanted directly to go with an expert and just shorten the learning curve and to get directly the right system in place so I can speed up our learning process and actually focus on being fast as a startup.
Good to hear. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And so, what was the different elements of this program or this collaboration that really helped out achieve your goal of having this super targeted lead generation process?
What did we achieve? First of all, what I really wanted is one partner who can come up, set up the program, just gives us really an advanced solution so I don't have to figure that out, start running it, and then we can take it in-house afterwards. The first outcome for me here so far was that he worked really well at really fast at growth hacking, exactly the speed that I need to operate fast. And we could set things up within like 2 weeks, I think. Next stage was I knew that being very targeted initially will be quite helpful because I really, as mentioned before, I needed to figure out what type of customer is this enterprise, is this SMB, how do they react? We have a lot of target segments. How do these different target segments react? We could enrich our leads super well on a level that I usually don't see at many companies. And then what happened is that we got insane response rates from our customers. So as compared what I've seen at several other companies in outbound, we were at like both 10 times higher in terms of contact the company, getting a demo, with the decision makers in. There was kind of what happened in the result. I mean, this is nuts for me. I don't think there was one aha moment, but it was constant aha moments where I thought, okay, this is the right speed we are working on. The enrichment actually works better than I expected at the beginning, what you could get out, and a very problem agnostic solution. We faced quite some problems on the way getting there. In terms of this data source doesn't work, that data source doesn't work, or here we are missing a piece. And I could see that regrowth hacking was really agnostic to these problems. You immediately jumped on the problem, saw it, and with a lot proactively solved it. The constant aha moment where I said, okay, that's the speed that I need. That's the right way. So this way we can speed up things a lot, and we can get I can get my results earlier. So answers to my experiments on the different segments. And this was really a great experience for me, to having these constant aha moments with every check-in.
Great. Yeah. So we have definitely the fact of speed, which is super important that you mentioned, where you were pretty blast off of that. So that's really great to hear. The fact of providing the quality of the leads also from the start at also pretty much big or huge scale to some extent. And also, if I could mention the fact that the program or the Outbound engine more specifically adapts to your needs and where you want to go, right? Because you wanted to go maybe to one specific ICP there, check what could be brought out of that. You were talking about online sources that were working or not, some databases, yes or no. And that's also the beauty of the Outbound engine, which is being able to adapt to where you're standing, to what you have at disposal, your infrastructure, or the stage of which your business is at right now.
That's the big advantage. Early stage, you need to test things, right? And unless you know a bit the messaging, then marketing channels are hard to manage. But what I could manage with the Outbound program is still also learn about the segment. And I got really early signals from some companies which where we got traction on. And as soon as I saw they were getting traction with certain messages, I could also add marketing behind it with some paid ads that we are running on those. And it was exactly the database that you provided to me that I know which companies to target and with what messaging to target them, because we saw already early messaging resonating, that I could also launch immediately some marketing behind.
Good. Super. Yeah. Great. Thank you very much. I think you've covered quite a lot in terms of bringing such a great testimonial. Thank you so much for that, Chris. Just want to finish with this last question. Typically, like, what would you say to someone thinking about joining this Outbound engine program?
Yeah, I mean, let's say I would just give my sample. I am quite experienced in the space, and still I knew why I was going with you, and I know by now it was definitely the right choice. And I also recommended you to some other companies and I only heard them coming back and saying, yeah, many thanks for that recommendation. It really helped us to be much faster.
Great.
So
awesome.
I would just cite those things in doing the right thing.
Yeah. Great. Well, that's gold to us. Thank you so much. Okay.
Maybe let me elaborate on one thing. Just in terms of also what I tend to tell, like what I explained to these other startups. I think that's also relevant. I mean, many say, okay, but we can learn that in-house and it's all straightforward and so on. And I said, like no. I mean, the tools are all available. That's true, and they're straightforward to use. But the magic in Outbound usually happens in the processes. So really nailing it is very much about the processes. Which databases do you use for which region? How do you enrich them together? What sequences work on what audience? How to handle the bounce rates, and so on and so on. So Outbound is not about a tool, it's about the processes that you implement into those tools. And with a lot of different stakeholders, actually quite complex. And then I said, just reduce the complexity in going with someone who really got this from the beginning, and then right. And that's what I usually tell them. I think that was still would be relevant to say. It's what I actually told my friends.
Yeah, that's great. Well, couldn't agree more, because also one of the big points is also about making sure the CRM is nice and clean. For example, that you have a very great database of quality, not reaching out to companies you already have in your CRM, but you scrape them or have them from elsewhere, the online sources and so forth. So all of that is part of indeed a bulletproof process that we've put into place in such an engine, and through that you can see for the program. So yeah, great. Thanks for this add-on. So I think we're all set. Again, thank you so much for being here, and yeah, up to next time.